Welcome to I-MEDITA. In this video we are going to learn how to configure a basic wireless local area network in Packet Tracer using an access point and wireless LAN controller.
So in this version of the Packet Tracer software, if you go to the, I will just create first a very normal network. So I will just have a few routers. I will have few routers and I will create a topology. So I will use this normal 1941 series router. Two routers in fact. One is going towards the, let's say, internet, and one is in our company internally. Then I will have a switch. I have a switch connected.
Question.
Question. Yeah.
The choice of the router is important. So when you do the simulation,
no. You can do what you can choose any router you want. It doesn't matter.
All of them will work.
Yeah, you can because the fundamental properties, fundamental concepts are going to be same. So it doesn't matter what router you actually choose. It actually.
Okay.
So I have one router that will be on the ISP end, representing the internet. One router I have in my local network. I have a switch, and I will have a DHCP server. I will have a DHCP server, so I will just click on server, and I will have a DHCP server. I will have a PC from where I will do the management. I will use a few PCs, I will use a few PCs that will connect in a wireless fashion to the access points. I can go to the wireless devices, and here we have this 3720. We have this WLC. We have these WLCs. We have these WLC that we have, and we also have the lightweight access point. So I will click on here. I will drop an access point here, an access point here. We can have more than one access points as well. We can have 3, 4 if you want, but I'm just going to have one right here. And these access points are going to be managed via WLC. So I will have a WLC right here as well. Now I have to interconnect them. So these will connect in a wireless fashion, so don't worry about them. These will also connect in a wireless fashion, so I don't also need to worry about that part, these devices as well. Okay. Now I will just automatically choose connect this one, connect this one. Okay. Okay. This is the topology that I'm going to have. So first of all, I will configure the IP addresses respectively on these devices. First of all, I will configure the IP addresses. Okay. So this is our home router. So I will just say this right here is the ISP, Internet Service Provider. This here is our home router, or we can say our customer router. This here is the DHCP server that will provide the IPs. This right here is the WLC that we will use for the management of these access points AP1, and this is one other access point, that is AP2. We have this AP1, we have this AP2. Then we have this WLC, Wireless LAN Controller. This is just a management PC. I can say like this is management PC. From there I will do the management. This is the DHCP server. These are the access points that we have. Okay. This router is going towards the internet, ISP. On the ISP, I will have a IP address like loopback 8.8.8.8 so that I can represent the internet. Okay. Mm. Okay. So I have this type of network here. Now, let's first configure the IP addresses respectively. I will configure the IP addresses in this topology. I will start with the ISP router. IP addresses, you can choose any IP. For example, like onto here, right here. I can choose an IP address like maybe 100 public IP, any public IP you can choose. No, I believe I have to, okay, Control Shift R. So I will just choose the I will say like 100.1.1.0/24. And here the entire, this is a LAN network. So I will just say like the entire one is part of 192.168.1.0/24. Or I can better 172.16.1.0/24. I can have any LAN network I want, doesn't matter. I can have any network that I want. It actually does not matter. Okay. Now I will start with configuring the ISP router. I will go to the CLI tab. I will say enable configure terminal host name. Then I will say like interface gigabit 0x0. IP address is going to be 100.1.1.2.255.255.255.0. No shutdown. Then I will say interface loopback IP address 8.8.8.8 and then no shutdown. No, I don't have to say no shutdown, but this is the IP address 8.8.8.8/24 is the IP address that I have configured as a loopback. So show IP interface brief if you do. These are the IP addresses that you have set. If you remember how to configure the IPs, you must know. So I have configured the appropriate IPs on this ISP router. I don't need to do anything else. I will go on my home router.
Question.
Yeah.
For every interface, you have to put no shutdown.
Sorry?
every time you configure an interface, you have to put no shutdown.
Not every time, for the first time.
For the first time, huh?
Yeah, once the interface is no shut, then I don't have to do anything.
No, I'm talking about if a router has more than 2 interfaces.
Yes, you have to do that on both the interfaces. Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, thank you. That's what.
So I will say interface gigabit 0 by 1, and I will say the IP address 100.1.1.1. No shutdown. I will no shut one interface, and I will say interface gigabit 0 by 0, and that is maybe 172.16.10.1, because that is the IP I have chosen. 172.16. Let's say 10.1. That is the IP I have chosen to configure in this LAN segment. So I will say 10.1 to 55 to 55 to 55.0. No shut. I have to bring both the interfaces up. That is why show IP into brief. I can now see that the both interfaces are up. Now this is a private subnet. This is a private subnet. This is a public network. From the private to public, if I had to go, I had to do the NAT. So I will also perform NAT here. I will also perform NAT here, network address translation. Specifically, I will perform the PAT, port address translation, so that many private IPs can be, in fact, many private IPs can be mapped into a single public IP. I will do the PAT on the home router to reach out to the internet.
NAT will be configured just on a home router.
Yeah, because internally it is a...
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So configure terminal. First of all, I will give a default route 0.0.0.0, 0.0.0.0, 100.1.1.2. I have given a default route on here. That default route on router, home router, is pointing towards the ISP router. That default route that I have here, default route is there. So that I can reach to the internet service provider. So there is also a default route on this home router so that I can reach to the internet service provider. Default route syntax 0.0.0.0, 0.0.0.0, any IP mask, and this is the next hop. Next hop is this one, 100.1.1.2 is the next hop. And now I will use the command for PAT. So I will say interface gigabit 0 by 0, IP NAT inside, interface gigabit 0 by 1, IP NAT outside. IP NAT inside, IP NAT outside I have configured. This is my inside interface, this is my outside interface. So I have done that inside and outside thing. So I have configured that inside and outside interfaces. Once I am done with this inside and outside interface, then I will create an access list, and that access list will match our private traffic. So access list 1 and permit means match the private traffic 172.16.10.0 respectively. Okay. Now, I will say IP, NAT, inside, source, access list number 1, and which interface? Outside interface overload. Means whatever traffic is coming in, I will pat it. I will use the public IP configured on the gigabit 0 by 1 to send the traffic. So we have done the PAT, the port address translation. So the private IP is now getting mapped with the public IP. The private IP is now getting mapped with the public IP. So I configured the inside and outside. I use the appropriate access list. I use the appropriate access list 1 permit. Then IPNAT inside source list 1 interface overload. I said like match the IP address from the private subnet and overload it on the interface gigabit surpie 1. Classic PAT we have configured. So this thing onto this point, we don't have to do anything else. That is fine. I will just save that. Now, I will configure this DHCP server. I will go to the DHCP desktop IP. It is 172.16.10.100. Let's say 255.255.255.0. Default gateway 172.16.10.1 is the default gateway. I have configured the IP address on the DHCP. That IP address is in fact 172.16.10.100. Right here, it is 172.16.10.100/24, the IP address. And in fact, same set of IP address we have configured here as well. That is 172.16.10. Here it is 100.1 subnet. Here we have 100.1.1.1 as the IP, and I will say PAT here. So here we have this 100.1.1.1 subnet, and right here we have 100.1.1.2 subnet. Okay, this is 100's network. Okay. Now on here, I will go to the services tab. I will go to the DHCP, and I will say that you will provide the DHCP services 192.16.10.1 is the default gateway. The IP will start from here, of course. The IP will start from here. It will, how many number of users maximum to maximum? 100 number of users. Now there is an option called WLC address. What IP I'm going to in fact configure here, let me tell you on the WLC. I'm going to configure the IP address 172.16.10.200. That is the IP address that I will configure on the wireless LAN controller. This IP I'm going to configure on this wireless LAN controller. So I'm saying in the DHCP itself, on the DHCP configurations, I can say, that who is the WLC? 172.16.10.200 is the WLC. In here itself, I can actually specify that information. I can say the name of the DHCP pool, the default gateway. I don't have any DNS server. The start IP address, I can define the start IP address. Start from here, start from there. Start from 172.16.10.2. Why? Because .1 is already configured here. Then subnet mask, then maximum number of users. I don't have any TFTP server, but I have the WLC. So I said that this is the IP address of the WLC, and I will save that. So I have run the DHCP here. I have run the DHCP services here. Now, what happens on the WLC? On the WLC, there is a port called service port. On a WLC, there is a port called service port. And that service port is used for the initial configuration, the initial setup. The service port is used for that initial setup. We connect our PC to the service port of the WLC, and the PC automatically gets the IP address from 190 to 168 range, because that service port is automatically set to provide the IP from that particular range. But onto this packet tracer software, we don't have this service port. If you mouse over it, you will see this. There is gigabit port, there is management port, but there is no service port. In fact, there is no service port. In fact, so what I will do, I will connect it. I will try to connect it. I will connect it. I will connect this, this WLC. It says like I also have a management port. It says like I have the gigabit port, I have the management port. But the problem is that this management port that I'm having is actually also not practically available in this WLC packet tracer software. So what we have to do actually, we have to connect it like this. We have to connect it like this. Like we have to connect the gigabit port with the fast Ethernet port initially. Initially, we have to connect it like that. Initially, I have to connect the gigabit one with the fast Ethernet, like with the gigabit one with the fast Ethernet of the PC. Because this WLC software does not have any service port or the management port for the practical uses in the packet tracer software. In the real time, it's there. In the real time, it's there, but it's not there in case of this packet tracer software. In case of this packet tracer software, it's not there. Okay. Now, what we have to do, I will go to that management PC here. I will go to the desktop IP and I will say DHCP. You will see that it automatically gets the IP. It is assuming that your PC is connected via management port, service port. We don't have any service port manually. We have this that service port. Service port is actually, in fact, not there actually in this software. In that case,
WLC.
Yeah, in this one, in this packet tracer WLC, in the packet tracer WLC, we don't have that one. So the point is that in the case of Cisco Packet Tracer software, in the case of this Cisco Packet Tracer software, what we had to do, we had to in fact connect it with the normal port. So like we had to connect it with the gigabit port, but in the real time, it's not like that. In the real time, what will happen in the real time, you will connect your end PC. You will connect your end PC, first of all, with the service port. That service port will automatically provide you. Service port will automatically provide you the IP from that particular range. Just like it happened here, just like it happened right here. In the real time, we connect the PC with the service port, and that service port actually provides the IP from that range. And now I can go to the desktop, and I can in fact open the web browser, and the IP address is 192.168.1.1 by default of the WLC. If I hit enter, I must see some sort of a page in that case. You see, this is the Cisco WLC 2500 series wireless LAN controller, and now we have to create the account and all. I have to create these things now. So in real time, you will have the management PC. In the real time, you will have the management PC. You have to connect it to the service port. Service port will automatically give you the IP address from the range, 192.168.1 range, and you will use the IP address 192.168.1.1, which is by default configured for this initial configuration task on the WLC. And then you can use a web browser to access that WLC from here.
And that's where you can configure it everyone on a...
No. Okay. We will just do the initial configurations. Like I will just create the initial configuration, then I will use the management port to manage it, to actually access it. It is service port is just for the initial configuration. It is not for the management.
Okay.
When you connect your end machine with the service port of the WLC, it is just and just for the initial configurations, not for the entire management. So here we will just create some initial configuration so that I can manage my WLC later on. So I will create a username. I will create an admin username I-MEDITA, password I-MEDITA@123, I-MEDITA@123. So you see, it says like there are specific, like this says start.
Yeah.
It's still in the red one because you have to say like one caps, small, then @ a special character, numbers, all these things you have to use, like not only this, not only this. Yeah. So this is the username that I have here. I will just start. I will even write down the username somewhere so that I don't forget. This is the username and the password is IMEDITA@123. It is for the login to WLC. When we have to log into the WLC, I will use this password. So this I have set at the initial point. Now here we have to set the other things like system name. I can system I can set up any name like whatever name of the system, whatever name of this WLC, just like the host name. I have set a name here. Okay, I have set some sort of name. I can set whatever type of name I want to set. Then country, that time and date information, the time zone. If you have the NTP server, you can configure it. The management address and all. The management address, what management address? The management address you have to set. I don't have any NTP server and also I just forget about it. The management address is this one. Right here, if you can, right here, if you see, I have written down the management address to be 172.16.10.200. So I will say that I will use 172.16.10.200 later on for the management. 172.16.10.200 is the management IP address. What is the subnet mask? 255.255.255.0. What is the default gateway? 172.16.10.1. This is the IP address of this WLC. In fact, that we will be using later on to manage this WLC from the web browser. The 192.168.1 range, it is just and just for the initial purpose, initial configuration purpose only. So I've set up the name and all. I will say next. Okay. Okay. Now, do you want to broadcast some network? Yes, I want to do that. So I have a wireless network with the name of I-MEDITA employee. So I have used this. I have used this. This what you say, like I have used this SSID. This is SSID that I'm going to actually broadcast. This is the SSID that I'm going to in fact broadcast from my access points, the I-MEDITA employees. What type of security do you want to have? WPA2, WPA. If in case of WPA2, you can just put a password. In case of WPA Enterprise, you have to put some sort of authentication server information from here, radius, TACACS, and those. I will just say WPA personal. And the password is going to be Cisco@123. Cisco@123. Right. This is the name of the wireless network. I will just note it down here as well. The name of this wireless network and the password is Cisco@123. This is the SSID that will be broadcasted, from the access point, and the password is Cisco@123. Okay, what VLAN it is? Since we have not created any VLAN, so it will just show me in the default management VLAN. Do you want to have the guest network as well? If you want to have the guest network, you can turn on the guest network as well. But as of now, I don't require any guest network, so I will let it be off. I will say next. This you can leave as it is. Virtual IP by default is 192.0.2.1, so I can just leave it as it is, and that's next. So it says you have done these configurations. You have done these configurations. You can just validate these configurations. You can validate these configurations, and you can just say apply. Please confirm the settings and apply. So I confirm that the settings are okay, and I will just say apply. System will reboot after the settings have applied. So I will just say okay. It will save the configurations. I will say capture and forward. I will say capture and forward like that. And now I can just close it. Now I will not be able to access it. Now I will not be able to access it like, the way I just did like now. It is for the initial configuration only. Now what I will do? Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to connect it the way it was earlier. Also, I will use the command spanning tree port fast so that all the ports directly go in the forwarding state. They don't take time. Anyway. Now, I will connect my management PC. I will connect my management PC to the switch as well, because now I'm not directly going to manage it like by connecting it to the point. So now what I'm going to do? I'm going to connect it to the switch like that. DHCP is already working, so I must get the IP. You see, I must get the IP. DHCP. DHCP failed, it says. Let me see why the DHCP is getting failed. Because I have already, oh, sorry. I did not turn on the service. I had to power on the service as well. I configured the DHCP parameters, but I did not enable the service. So I have to enable the service as well. Now I have enabled the service on the DHCP server. And now let's see. Now let's see if I get the IP or not. Yeah, now I got the IP. So I did the initial configuration, and then I plugged in my management PC. Then after I'm done doing the initial configurations, once I'm done doing the initial configuration, I just plugged in this PC. I plugged in that particular PC to the switch, just like I connect to a normal switch in that case. And now I will just go here. I will go to the browser. And what IP address? HTTPS. First of all, you will not be able to access it via HTTP. And what IP address was there of the 172.16. Remember, if you 10.200 was the IP that I set on the WLC. So now, if you click on go, you see the WLC LAN controller, the wireless LAN controller. You can log in. What was the username? I-MEDITA and I-MEDITA@123. This is how your wireless LAN controller interface looks like. This is the wireless LAN controller interface looks like.
Believe me, I have a long way to go, huh?
Yeah, that is like we don't have to cover as per the CCNA, we don't have to cover a lot of things in the WLC.
But it's good to know.
Yeah, in as per the CCNA, you just need to know okay, these are the variety of options that we might have in the WLC. By default this SSID is being broadcasted. Why? Because I actually said that earlier. So controller and all these things. So you can just verify. Most of the options are even disabled in this packet tracer software. So you cannot do any of thing like you see. All these options are disabled. You cannot do that. But at least you have an idea. At least you have an idea. Okay, that these things are there in the WLC GUI. This is the GUI of the wireless LAN controller. Now I will just drop it. It supports how many number of access points? It says 25 access points are supported in this particular packet software. Now let's talk about these. let's talk about these access points. As of now, these access points are not configured. That is why they are not associated with this WLC. You see, as of now, how many access points this knows about? This WLC knows about 0 access point. This WLC does not know about any access point, or this WLC does not knows about any client as well. So now I have to configure these access points as well. So I will go on to here. I don't actually have to do a lot of configurations. I just have to, I just have to I just have to do this. I just have to power it on. I just have to drag and drop this power so that it gets powered on. And I actually don't have to do anything else. I don't have to do anything else. You see, the gateway, it is automatically set. It is automatically set to get the IPs and other parameters from the
DHCP. Yes.
So I don't, it even got the IP address of the WLC as well. I did not configure it. I did not configure it. And if you want to verify, you can see that I, in fact, if I power it on and if I go to this config tab, you see, this automatically got it. I did not configure it. It automatically, in fact, got the gateway address and all, because by default it is set the parameters from the DHCP.
DHCP, yes.
And on the DHCP I set, on the DHCP, if you remember, on the DHCP I set that who is the WLC, it is the WLC. So they now know who is the wireless LAN controller. They know about the WLC now. And since they know about the WLC, if you mouse over it, if you mouse over these access points, they have also got the IP address 172.16.10.3. It also got the IP address 172.16.10.4, the gigabit Ethernet 0. And they have created, you can see, if you verify, you can see that they have also created that cap WAP tunnel. You see, cap WAP status, that it is connected, this access point is connected to the WLC 172.16.10.200. It got the information about the WLAN, and it is now broadcasting the wireless LAN I-MEDITA employees. And if you want, you can verify that from here. You go here and you see, as of now it says all what 000. Just refresh it.
Yes.
Refresh it and you see how many access points are now there. Two access points are now there. 2 access points are now there. You can click on detail and you see 2 lightweighted access points have been associated automatically with this WLC. All the information, all the way up to what is the model of those access point, the MAC address, the uptime, administrative status, operational status registered. They are registered on this WLC. Speed, you can verify. Do they support PO? Yeah, the Packet Tracer software will not show you a lot of things. So the speed on the Ethernet 0, Ethernet 1, if you have connected anything on the other interfaces, you will see. How many number of clients are connected to every access point? None. Okay. I can just verify only a few parameters, not a lot of things. So that's the way these automatically do that. They automatically register themselves on the WLC, in fact. I can verify a lot whole information from here. I can verify a lot whole information from here. The management IP address of this WLC is this one, software version, recovery, system name. It's been 15 minutes since this is up. Okay, you can verify a lot whole information, fan speed and everything, CPU uses. It is virtual device, so it says 0%.
And this one is it?
Yeah.
Which level is it?
Sorry?
This one is CCNP level.
I did not get you. Sorry, I'm not getting the question.
This at this level to configure this one is a CCNP or?
No, it is in dedicated wireless track. So, like once you cover the wireless, then you will discuss about these. We have different options like how many access points are associated. There's something called Cisco Clean Air, statistics we can verify. Now this Packet Tracer software does not even support these options, so we will not be able to see any of these. Well, these features are not supported in the Packet Tracer software. Only a very basic, very basic features are supported in this Packet Tracer software. You see, suppose for example, I want to edit the the wireless local area network like that I have created. I want to edit the, for example, like, I want to edit the password. So I can edit the passwords from here. I can enable the different types of security. Remember the static VP, web, wired equivalent privacy, 802.1x, all these things are there. But as of now, it is configured to use WPA or WPA2. And what policy? The pre-share key. This one is the pre-share key that I have configured. Cisco @123. I can have the routing, AAA servers if you have any, quality of service, policy mapping, a lot of options you might see. But this packet tracer software does not even support all these options. We can also add, if you want, you can create a new. We can create a new SSID as well if you want. You can create a new SSID as well if you want. We have the controller option to check the status about the controller. Different types of things are there here as well. The wireless, how many access points are associated and all. The security parameters. Do we know about any AAA server or anything like that? So all these things like radius authentication servers. Now, as of now, we don't have any, but so that is why it will not show you. There is no, as of now, we don't have any radius server, TACAC server, and even this software does not even support it. So that is why you don't have any of these options. The management, I can remove the user from the management as well, or I can add a new user who can manage this wireless LAN controller. So you can just explore. You can ping. If you want, you can ping and everything. You can just explore these variety of options, but you don't have to configure a lot. Now I have to associate my end users. I have to associate my end users with the access points. Because as of now, I have just connected these access points with WLC, but my end users are now not as of now, these are not part of the wireless network. So what we have to do in this case, to make these part of this wireless network, I will go here. By default, these, I can just remove one or two of these if I want. I can just remove it. If I want, I can also have a laptop. If you want to have a laptop, you can have a laptop. Now, okay. What I have to do here, by default, these devices, they do not have the Wi-Fi NIC. They have this wired NIC. So what I have to do, I have to power it off. I have to power off this machine. I have to remove this. I have to remove this. I have to remove this wired net interface card, and I have to add the wireless one. Similarly, I will go here on this laptop. I will power it off. I will remove this wired, and I will add the wireless one. And I will power it on as well. This you have to do on here as well. Power it on. Don't forget to power it on. I will go here, power it off, remove the wired NIC, add the wireless NIC. This packet tracer software cannot support both. So I have just removed them and I have added them. Remove the wired one, add the wireless one, and power it on. Once you are done with that task, now what we have to do? Once you are done with that task, you go here, you go to the config, you go to the wireless, okay? What SSID you want to connect to, you have to mention that. You want to connect to what SSID? I want to connect to this SSID. This is the SSID, if you remember, that I configured. I want to connect to this wireless network, because what we do, we connect from our machine, we connect to the wireless network. So I have to specify that I want to connect to this wireless network and the key WPA2. The key, I have just, I believe, pre-serial key. Yeah, the key I'm using WPA2. The key that I have is, I believe, small c or capital C. Capital C. Okay, I will say the key is CISCO @123. This is the key. This is the key to connect to that wireless network, the password. And you just, now see, it automatically gets the IP, it automatically gets the mask. And in fact, if the credentials are okay, you will see that it is actually now connected to the wireless access point as well. Same thing, in fact, we have to do here as well. Same thing, in fact, we have to do here as well. Again, see, I will go here, I will go to the config, wireless, what SSID I want to connect to, employees I want to connect to. And what was the password? The password was CISCO@123. And as soon as I do that, I will get the IPs here respectively, and it will also get connected to there. You see, it got the IP because the DHCP is already there. I'm getting the IP addresses from the DHCP and all, and rest of the things are happening automatically. Now, I will go here. Now in this packet tracer software, we cannot control like this will connect to this one or this one. I'm not sure. This might get connected to this one as well. We cannot control that thing in this packet tracer software. So I can just do the configurations and let's see where it connects to. Yeah, it connected to that one. We cannot do anything in that case. On here as well, I will do the same. I will go to the wireless. I'll go to the wireless SSID, and it was Cisco@123. So I cannot control. You see, everything is getting connected to this one. I cannot control in this packet tracer software like, okay, these devices will connect to where. They might connect to here itself, but we cannot control that point, that thing in this software. We cannot do that. In this software, we cannot actually control that where they are going to connect. If I power off, see again, it is getting connected to the same. I cannot control that in this software. Maybe if I power it off, power it on a few times, maybe it might get connected to this nearest one. It might get connected to this nearest one, but I'm still not sure like it will happen. They might try to find out the nearest one and they will either connect to this one. See again, so this location does not matter in this case. In this software, it is all like, we cannot control this thing, so it is connecting to that one. Now see, if I do a few times, I did power off, power on, and it connected to the other one. I can just go here and I can just power off, power on a few times. I'm not sure what exactly is the fundamental in this software, but you see, it's getting connected to that AP again and again. You see. So, but anyway, we cannot control this thing in this software. I can just power off, power on a few times, like it might get connected to this nearest one. Otherwise, they might get connected to the other one. We cannot control that. And now once this association is done, in fact, once this association is done, now what we can do, we can in fact see that the traffic can move from one point to the other point. The traffic can go accordingly. Now we can see that. Okay, now finally it got connected to this one. Okay, so two devices here, two devices here. Okay. Now, once these devices are connected, you can go here and you can also refresh one more time and you will see how many devices are connected, how many clients are connected. 4 clients are connected. You can also validate that part as well. You can see like, how many number of devices are connected to that access point. You can see how many number of users are connected. 2 users are connected in that case. So I can have this particular thing in this Packet Tracer software for this task. I can have this in the Packet Tracer software for this particular task. Okay. Now let's talk about data sending and receiving process. If we talk about data sending and receiving process, let's say I want to ping. If you want to ping from one point to the other point, I can ping as well. So if I want to ping, I can just take a packet. I can click from here to here and see the ping is successful. If I want to simulate it, how the data is getting passed. So you can see data is coming to the access point. The data is coming to the access point. It is going to the WLC, and from the WLC, it is coming back and it is getting distributed. And then the reply will come respectively. So the data, you will see that the data will pass via WLC. The data, in fact, it will pass via WLC from here to here. It doesn't show the actual, it does not show you the actual in detail process. It gets transmitted. It is received on the wireless network. It will be forwarded respectively. It will be forwarded respectively to the next one. It does not see I'm trying to reach from here to there. So, it does not show us properly, but the ping and trace will be successful, of course. Also if you want to reach from this internal network to the internet, that will also get successful. Why? Because if you think about it, I have done onto here the proper netting and all. I have done that point as well. So if I see from here to here, let's see, it is successful. The traffic must be going from here to here to here to here respectively. I'm not sure if I can show you that in the capture forward scenario. Yeah, you see, now it's okay. Now it's okay that the traffic is moving via WLC to the end devices. Successful. So you can ping. You can also ping from one to another if you want. You can ping from here to here as well. It must be successful because it's all in the same network. You can ping from like here to here as well. It must be successful as well. If I want to check the simulation, I can check the simulation mode as well. That what is happening if I'm pinging from here to here. The traffic is generated. It is sent to the WLC, and from WLC it is coming back to the appropriate destination. And then the reply will come back. You see, then the reply will in fact come back and it will be passed via WLC itself. So remember that the traffic will pass via that wireless LAN controller. The traffic will pass via that wireless LAN controller. So I can reach internal to the network, and I can also reach to the external network like internet. I can reach to the external network like internet as well. So this is how we can actually have a very simple, this is how we can have a very basic topology in this case of WLC wireless LAN controller.